Aloha, loves. Welcome back to the Intuitive Eye. I'm your hostess, Sophia Marie, and I'm here with an amazing woman, Camille Moritz. She does in-depth transformational soul clearing and healing. She's a revelator of light, bringing the known into the unknown, and she works with ascension, mastery, and karma clearing, and that's just a few things. And I'm just so delighted that you're here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Sophia.
Oh, yes, yes. Couldn't have it any other way. Well, let's just dive right back into the intuitive eye. I love that you say that you're revelator of light. And I've personally worked with you, so I know what that means to me. But for those in our audience who don't know what that is, can you explain a little bit about that and how that helps people with their intuition and what they're creating in their lives?
Yes. I was instructed by my spiritual guides and higher self to add Revelator of Light behind my name versus the letters of my degrees and what I did. And it was really representation of the time of the apocalypse, which is the Greek word that is the unveiling of divine truth. So the time on the planet where we would bring the unknown or the unconscious into the known and into the conscious. And this is connected to techniques and ways to see into the spirit world, but also to see into the soul's records and identify the programs that we have running that are manifesting our outer experiences that are not aligned with our soul's purpose or the highest good. So when we reprogram our unconscious mind, we have to know what the program is that we're reprogramming it, and that is bringing the unknown into the known. And humans are intended to be light, and light is measured as both a photon wave and a particle, and the particle is in form and the photon wave is out of form. So humans are the bridge between being masters in the spirit world and masters in the physical world as light, the resonant frequency of their selves.
Fantastic, fantastic. I love that you say the apocalypse is about unveiling the divine light, because I would say that a lot of people are feeling like this time in history, this global event that's overtaken the earth is really the apocalypse. I mean, I've been saying the zombie apocalypse, but you know, just in light of it. But this really is about unveiling the truth of a person. So how does this event assist us in claiming our intuition, in claiming our power, in claiming everything that we are actually here to do in the world and experience?
Well, not only this event, but our everyday lives, because the outer world is an outer manifestation of the unconscious energy in your inner world. So when the human having three minds, the conscious mind who knows what it knows, the subconscious mind who knows it but isn't currently aware of it, and the unconscious mind, that unknown that you do not know, such as your past lifetime. And the womb of creation is our unconscious mind. And when we go into epigenetics and we work with Dr. Greg Braden and those that teach about that, we learn we have to reprogram the unconscious. In that awareness, your outer experiences that are charged are direct manifestations of the unconscious energy you hold within. When you reprogram the unconscious, you have a different outer experience. In the current experience of the pandemic, that could be considered to be a collective outer manifestation of the collective unconscious of humans that has not yet been addressed. So the collective consciousness of anger, fear, subjugation, slavery, all those energetics are being blown up in our outer world. So humans have an opportunity to choose by their own free will to create a new life reality.
Yes, yes. And choice is such an important thing, because a lot of times people feel like they don't have a choice, that they're at the effect of, the pandemic or the government or, what's happening with the economy, things like that. What would you say is personally the role that intuition has in your life?
In my life, I don't really know the role that it doesn't have, because I was born awake, and my psychic knowing and intuitive awareness has only become stronger and more prevalent the older I get, and the more I trust and rely on it. I follow my higher self and my higher guidance implicitly. When we put our God self and our God knowing in our heart, the Atman, the idea of the fall of humanity where it was withdrawn, is no longer irrelevant. The heart of Mother Earth was reactivated with the divine feminine, and within every heart of every man, woman, and child, they have access to the ascension chamber, the star chamber, and the soul's records. And that is where individuals see the images, like if they have a life review with their life flashes through their eyes, it's from the Sacred Heart. And so in that awareness of the Sacred Heart knowing, when we put our higher self in our heart and we begin to ask what serves our highest good, because 24/7, every day, every moment, a human has an opportunity to choose. Do we choose what is aligned with our highest good? Or do we not choose what's aligned with our highest good? If we do not choose what's aligned with our highest good, then we are going to accrue karma. If we do choose, then we're going to create freedom and more opportunity, not only for ourselves, but for the others, because there is no separation of energy. So what we know as us is also in the outer world around us. So in the answer to the question, following your intuition is really following your higher self and your higher knowing, and it's moving into absolute faith and trust that the universe is here to support you 100%, and that everything in the world is intended to lift you up so you can make decisions based on joy and what expands you, versus making decisions on fear because of the experience that many humans have that the universe and the world is against them. So moving from the paradigm of everything is out to get me, and I'm making my decisions based on fear, to the free will choice that is intended for us, that everything in the universe is teaming to support us and lift us up and empower us. So when we follow our intuition, over time, we gain that faith and the strength and the ability to rest in peace, knowing that everything is going to take care of you. All you have to do is thank your higher self for bringing it into form. And if it is aligned with the plan, it will manifest in form.
Beautiful. Peace is, it's so important. It's so vital. So for those who they'd like to feel supported, they'd like to feel that the universe is wanting to uplift them, but their circumstances look like maybe losing a job, losing a partner, perhaps losing a loved one in death. How can they actually change their perspective when that's not their current experience?
Well, many spiritual belief systems teach about gratitude and thankfulness, and every single experience we have has a blessing in it, even if it's a negative experience, for the most part. So loss actually is regeneration and brings us rebirth and new life. And so if we can move out of the death wounds ending, which we have no power and no choice, and to the awareness that our soul is eternal and in a temporary human form, and if a loved one dies, your ability to commune with that loved one still is there. If you open the door to the possibility and allow yourself to believe it, then the experience of it can happen in form. And the idea of the loss of a job is that in the pandemic, it is very, these are extraordinary times that we have not witnessed before. And the reset, the financial reset, the world paradigm shift, moving from a fear-based world of domination and control and humans being debt slaves into a world of empowerment, personal choice, and free will, and each individual in their individualized column of lights co-creating hand in hand with Source to bring forward the divine plan or create heaven on earth. This is where I am at. This is what I teach. This is what I share. And this is what I believe. The first thing a person needs to do is just move into their heart. Very simple. In any time of stress, crisis, or even joy, thank you, higher self, for revealing the answers. Thank you, higher self, for demonstrating the way in an easy, personal way that I understand. The minute the human asks the higher self shows up. And in the science of the Rainbow Bridge, when the human invokes, the higher self evokes 100% of the time. This is why the power of the spoken word is such a powerful superpower for humans. So when the human begins to talk to their higher self, their God knowing, it talks to us and begins to direct us. But we have to open to the door to that possibility. And if we don't believe it, that's okay. And if we're fearful of that, we ask, that's okay, because those are very natural and normal ways of being a human that protect us. So we might say, thank you, higher self, for the unconditional love I have today, or thank you, higher self, for the new financial resources that are being revealed to me. And I acknowledge my skepticism of this request, and I acknowledge any fear I have of this request. But if it is for my highest good and God wants it for me, I'm still open to experiencing it. So being two people at once, the person experiencing your reality, possibly with skepticism, fear, and doubt, which is normal and healthy, and loving that human part of ourselves as sacred, and the person choosing to co-create the new reality by making the new choice of the highest good and being open to that possibility. Because we know that the low vibrating fear-based thought form is not going to manifest if we replace it with a positive higher frequency that will cancel it out. And that's what we're learning to do as conscious co-creators.
I love that, because so often we're taught maybe just to bypass what we're feeling, like, oh no, just go for the positive or go for the affirmations. But I love that you actually embrace both.
And I would like to say something about that, if that's possible.
Sure.
If we do not acknowledge our emotion, it goes into the unconscious self. The body can only hold so much unconscious emotion before it manifests as physical illness and disease, or as an outer experience that matches it. Every time we do not acknowledge our anger, it stuffs into our unconscious. Over time, stuffed anger blows up as blind wrath, because it's blind when it comes out. So it's so important for humans to have an emotional inventory every day and to acknowledge their emotions. When we acknowledge how we feel, then we are in our personal power. When we do not acknowledge how we feel and it stuffs into the unconscious, it'll manifest outside of us and entities will sit on it and feed from it. So it is very important for people to become aware that their thought forms serve them equally, the mental causal body, as their emotions, the emotional causal body. But we should only make decisions based on our God knowing, our higher self, and for our highest good. Often a human is pulled between what they think they should do and what they feel they should do, and they don't know which one they should choose. And that is a misalignment of the four causal bodies. So when we thank our higher self for aligning us, and over time, when we make decisions from our highest self or our highest good, our emotions and thought forms will come into alignment as well. The emotions being feminine and magnetic, and the thought forms being masculine and electric. When they come into alignment, you are unifying your inner masculine and feminine. And that's what allows us to have twin flame soulmate relationships. So it's a natural process that every human is already partaking in. I call ascension the conscious choice to engage in your soul's evolutionary process, because your soul is evolving, whether you're consciously choosing to be involved with it or not.
Yes, definitely. And you talked about how everything is a blessing, and I want to go a little bit deeper into that. So with this pandemic, with this global reset, what are the gifts that you see that are coming out of this?
Well, I see that the gifts are the revealing of the illusions that we have believed we have had to have in place to be successful, such as I have to leave my work and go and punch in on a time clock from 9 to 5 every day to make money. And some of those individuals are learning that they can make their money from their homes. And when they're making their money from their homes, they have less of a footprint on the environment. And they move more into a place of homeostasis and peace, because the more tasks the human has, the higher the stress level often in the body. So when we move into our original states of homeostasis and we restore the body to its original place of peace and well-being, a lot of our gifts turn on, our strengths and our hobbies. The other parts of it, this pandemic, is it's revealing where the lies are and where they are not. And in the now, many people are up in arms with their own personal side or beliefs about what is happening out there. And the media may be skewing the truth. So it allows individuals to disconnect from the propaganda that is brainwashing us into a place of knowing in their own heart what is truth, and for us to create new outlets of sharing wisdom and truth, that is not programmed by a small group of people designed to influence the masses. Propaganda and media has been used since the beginning of time, since early Roman times, to control groups of individuals. And at those times, a lot of humans didn't have education, and now we do. So most of us are able to read and write and gain information. Turning off the outer control illusion and moving into the inner knowing empowers us to create new life that really serves the individual, the family, and the collective. And that's a part of what this. I don't really go into the fear of this pandemic. The fear of it is contagious more than the actual illness.
Yes.
And the structure of the illness may be partly man-made. There may be a lot of things with it that humans have a hard time conceptualizing or understanding that are horrific. And we don't always have to go into that place, but having faith and knowing, So for me, a person's ability to trust their God knowing is implicit. And we have to balance the threefold flame in the heart for that to happen. And the threefold flame is taught in many spiritual programs. So I don't know if I answered your question appropriately.
There is no appropriate answer. It's whatever you feel. And yes, you absolutely did also, because these are the gifts. And, it takes us right back to what we were talking about. It invites us to step into our knowing and to, move away from all the voices and choose the one that's actually inside.
Right, and move into connection with Mother Earth, like being able to spend time in our own yard, in our own garden, in our own neighborhood, connecting with our neighbors. We may not even get to know them when everybody's going to work, but even though we're staying apart from each other, we're starting to get to know who's who in our own neighborhoods. So it really allows a more natural, organic timeline to be restored to humans and the earth. And I really believe that there is a war over the timeline right now, and the war on consciousness. And so the timeline of heaven on earth and all humans having the opportunity to have free will and make free will conscious choices and experience fulfillment and purpose and meaning in their life is very valuable to me. That is my whole purpose for serving, is to bring forward that plan.
Yes. And we're so grateful that you are here to do that. As we're looking past what's happening, past the current circumstances, past whatever this may bring, we look to the horizon and what's actually on our trajectory, on our path. So what do you intuitively see as the new horizon, both personally and for humanity?
I see the idea of a one world, unified, not from a place of a negative agenda as a one world government, but from a place of a spiritual truth of one heart, one love, one tribe, one Mother Earth, one people, and all sentient beings. And that this allows us to begin to move into those timelines of organic ascension. Many humans have already ascended in previous lifetimes as individuals, as renunciants, separate from community, family, and work. In the past, in India, you couldn't go on a path of ascension unless you renounced your family, your work, and your money, and you were a beggar. And so now, this is the time of the ascension of the families, in relationship, not as renunciants, as individuals, but in community and in collectives. And so what I see happening is that we move from learning how to be the one in a previous lifetime who ascended to the ones. We're all moving into our column of light and gaining personal mastery and experiencing success in that way. And we've never done that before on this planet. We've never experienced a collective ascension. And so learning how to be the ones means that you can perform miracles by many guides that we have seen or witnessed. And I could perform miracles and other people could perform miracles because spiritual phenomena comes with your mastery. And that we can do this side by side and be okay with each other without the ego thinking that one person is greater than the other, such as our hierarchical structures teach us. And it allows us to honor each other. And then from each individual's heart, we can put our energy together and create even a greater amount of healing for Mother Earth and all beings. Individual freedom and sovereignty is the most important thing that I can teach any human being. And individual freedom and sovereignty means that you are an eternal soul, that you're in a temporary human form, that you have direct access to source energy, and that as a free will being, you're the only authority of yourself, that there is no outer authority ruling you. Having your own authority it brings with it individual responsibility. And many humans have lost any form of sovereignty and freedom. And part of what this brings for us is opportunities to regain our sovereignty and our freedom as individual columns of light and through collective and communities. And to me, that's very important. And I'm very excited about that happening in the now.
Yes, I am as well. So if you could tell those in the audience maybe one nugget just to wrap up on how they can start to claim that sovereignty for themselves and actually claim that power and that freedom, what would you tell them?
I would just do the process of it. I would just do it with you. I teach in affirmations. So a lot of the information that comes through me is in affirmations. So like 2 pages of affirmation that teach a skill. They're called spiritual skills. So in the psychological world, we teach skill building. And in this metaphysical spiritual world, spirit works through me through spiritual skill building. In my book, Heaven on Earth Just for Being, Light Activation Playbook, it's not coming up on my camera very well.
It disappears into the universe.
So what we know is that, let's just start at the very beginning. The first ray of God anchors into our crown chakra. That's will, power, purpose, protection. For us to have that, we have to be safe and we have to be at peace and we have to realize our power is to create and uncreate. Second ray, love and understanding. This is electric. This is magnetic. Third ray, creative active intelligence. We're unifying the feminine magnetic and the masculine electric. So when we put our hand on our heart through the sacred science of manifestation, which is called the science of precipitation, we're immediately unifying the 2 polarities of our being. And then through the power of the one heart, a human has the right to claim freedom and sovereignty. The power of the one heart is the law of one that says that humans by their free will are co-creator beings, and through the law of one, it is our right to be free and sovereign. We're really angels in temporary human form. So when we do our proclamations, we have to do it through the power of the one heart because we're invoking the natural organic law of the universe. So through the power of the one heart in me, I claim freedom and sovereignty as my birthright. I take back my true and full power to create, and I am a free will being. And in this awareness, through the power of the one heart in me, I have direct access to source knowing, source wisdom, source knowledge. And through the power of the one heart in me, as a free sovereign being, I proclaim nothing has authority over me. I am the only thinker in my mind. I am the only feeler in my body. I'm choosing to create this life of divine detachment where I love all the people and all the people love me without us being psychically entangled and enmeshed. And as I'm doing this, I'm creating my strong column of light. Because when the human creates the rainbow bridge, which is the Antakarana, which is the third strand of light to the Godhead that all humans are creating and that Mother Earth is creating, the planetary Antakarana, every time the human invokes, the higher self evokes. So I can say, thank you, higher self, for the love I have today, and that's building my column of light. Thank you, higher self, for the peace I have today, and that's building my column of light. Because the minute I ask for freedom, love, peace, higher self as source energy puts down into my aura freedom, love, peace, and that creates sovereignty and freedom and love. And so the first thing a human has to do is just be open to asking, like a prayer, but not from a place of prostration and begging. Thank you, higher self. Thank you, God, for the love I have, and please physically demonstrate it in a way that I personally understand. And so that's what I would share with you as the most important thing on how to claim your freedom and sovereignty. So just start. If you don't feel free, ask for freedom. If you don't have money, ask for prosperity. Whatever you feel lacking in, thank your higher self for bringing the opposite side. Shift the 8 to the infinite. Be two people at once. The person experiencing the reality, love that part of you, and the person asking for the new or choosing it. When we choose it, we're willing it. If the choice is aligned with divine will, it will come into form. The only way it would not is if we have unconscious energy blocking it. And we can ask our body pendulum to show us yes, it usually will go to the forward. To show us no, it'll usually go to the back. And we can begin to talk to our God knowing in our heart and ask if there's an unconscious energy blocking our freedom, our good, our prosperity, our health. If my immune system is strong, then my health is strong. The most powerful way to activate the immune system is to begin to do light affirmations. Light, light, light. I am light. Light is produced in the center of my bones, and it radiates from every molecule and atom of my being. I radiate light. I emanate light. I magnify light. Light, light, light. I am light. And when a person says light is produced in the center of their bones, it turns on the molecular structure of the gold in their blood, which is alchemy, and it boosts your immune system. And what is taught is that humans can walk through the fire of man unscathed with the fire of God at the center of their bones, meaning I can walk through the pandemic without getting sick because I am light and the fire of source resides in me. And that is available to every man, woman, and child who chooses to activate it and ask for it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for both the practical and the energetic pieces that people can actually take from now and actually start to use to claim their sovereignty, to claim their light, to claim, as you say, whatever they're requiring, whatever they're feeling the lack of, they can actually ask for it and claim it and then have it.
Yes. And we can ask for it to all be physically demonstrated to us in an easy way that we understand. Because when we first start to do this, it's scary for a lot of people. So we just invite our fear into love and keep going until the fear dissipates. On my webpage, I have 14 free downloads that people can get on the webpage and they can print off. The first one is called Daily Divine Detachment, and it teaches how to be free and sovereign. And each one of those teaches us how to do this work. There's several light activation play sheets, which are pages of affirmations that you read them one at a time. And each one is an instruction on how to do that, how to have your free will restored, how to create, how to be in your power, how to activate the affirmations of infinite supply so you're prosperous. And for those individuals, that might be a lot of affirmations for them. So read it all through once, and then you can use your body pendulum and ask which ones to repeat, or just pick which ones out you're guided to repeat, or use that as the blueprint to create your own affirmations that, you know, resonate with yourself. It's very important. The mind is almost always thinking. Karma repeats itself. You have to stop the negative thoughts and replace them with the positive over and over again until you skip over the negative and jump right to the positive.
Yes, the practice. And thank you for sharing those valuable affirmations. Your website will be listed so people can check that out and download them for themselves, so that they can have that resource and then reach out to you when they need more support. So
right, heaven on earth just for being.com, meaning not for doing anything, but for standing in your divinity and being just. Yes,
which is not what we're taught. So now it's time to be retaught and taught the truth. So thank you so much, Camille, for playing with us today. Thank you for sharing the valuable information and, like I said, the practical and the energetic pieces that people can start shifting their life today. So thank you so much for being with us.
You're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me. All my love to you. Peace and aloha.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on this next level of the intuitive eye. And we will see you next time. Much love and aloha.
Bye.